Hello there guys, you're listening to Ebird Online and I'm here with the first review from the Tell-All. And this is 90 Day Fiance Before the 90 Days, Season 4 Tell-All. Before we begin, I just want to say please subscribe to my channel if you enjoy these reviews. And please also don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Ebird99. And on this review I'm going to be discussing Ash and Avery. And so when the tell-all starts, we realise that it's going to be a quarantine tell-all special and everybody is doing it and everybody is being filmed at home and it's being adjudicated as ever by Shaun Robinson. And Shaun explains that Geoffrey and Varya won't be attending the tell-all. Unfortunately, Shaun failed to tell us why, because Geoffrey's a violent narcissist with a long criminal history. And also, more interestingly, she explains that Lana is not here as yet and they haven't been able to get hold of her. Oh Shaun, there's no need to worry, David's got it all sorted. He's bought her an iPhone, so therefore you'll be able to get hold of her anytime you want, day and night. And let your bosses at TLC know they won't have to pay to speak to her, like David does. Thank God he got her that iPhone. So I'm actually enjoying these whole quarantine reunions and tell-alls and so on, just because it's so much easier to see what everybody's facial expressions are when you can see everybody on the screen at the same time. And also I think people are a little bit more confrontational and a little bit freer of what they say to other people because they're not sitting right in front of them. So there's no fear of physical threat. And I think if you all sit in the green room at the start and everyone's getting on and then you sit on the sofas, it's very difficult to start digging someone out. But if you're all at home and you just see what we've seen all season, so I'm definitely here for the new format. And they say a quick hi to everyone and Tom tells us he's in Nottingham and I can see that he's at his parents' house. I just love my subs because one of them sent me a photo of this house about 7 or 8 months ago and said this is where Tom lives. And obviously I wasn't able to display it to you all because that would be rude and a little OTT, but lo and behold, when I saw the picture I realised that's the picture that I'd seen previously. That's where Tom lives, with his parents. And then we find out that Yolanda had COVID for a month in December, or what we think is COVID. And then we have a quick montage of all the couples and how they met and when they first met. And I couldn't help but see that David looked away from the camera when Lana was shown standing him up. Yes, David, you may well look shifty. And they asked Usman about marking Lisa at 70%. And he lets us know that was a compliment. 50% or below would have been unpalatable. But for some reason, Lisa's just smiling away. But let's get down to the main topic of conversation for this review, Ash and Avery. So Shaun got right into it straight away and she asked Avery, why have you and Ash finished? And Avery said, Ash lied straight to my face. Of course he did. Every time Ash opens his mouth, a lie comes out. Ash lies to everybody's face. Ash is a liar. That's what Ash does best. Try not to take it personally. Sometimes he finds it really difficult to eat because he's trying to put food in, but by force of nature, lies are just spewing out. It's almost as if his mouth knows, if I'm open, I must be lying. And he finds it difficult to sustain himself. I lie, therefore I'm Ash. And Avery explains to us that she wanted to take a step back and take time out of the relationship to reflect. But as soon as she did so, Ash said, forget it, it's over. And so I understand from this that she said, I want to have a break. And Ash said, no, forget it, we're over. I don't think that Avery wanted a break. I think that Avery wanted to finish it, but she wanted to signal finishing it with a break so it didn't seem so harsh. Think about it logically. How can you have a break when you're not even in the same country? It makes no sense. For once I'm with Ash. Avery, you didn't want this relationship anymore. I don't blame you because like I said, he's a liar. But you're not fooling anyone with this I want to take a break scenario. And Avery continues, my feelings were fading and they were getting less. And Shaun said, Ash, do you understand why Avery's feelings were fading? I do. Her feelings were fading because she didn't want to fund a fool. But then inexplicably, in another lie, Ash said, yes, I do. I don't understand it. I don't know why her feelings were failing. Ash can't even answer that properly. He doesn't know why. But when Shaun asked him, do you understand why? He said yes. He literally doesn't listen to what anybody's saying except himself. And then Avery decided to rehash the Instagram pictures. And if you guys don't know what this story is, Avery's friend noticed on Facebook that Ash had changed his relationship status to single. Avery had a look at this and then she went to his Insta and discovered that all the pictures containing her had gone. So it was Avery's contention that Ash had made her disappear for a while because he was potentially seeing somebody else. And of course, if Avery's pictures were there, another girl must have been able to look and hit Avery up and say, why are you on my guy's Instagram? What's going on? And it was Ash's contention that somebody had hacked him, and Ash actually showed an email to Avery saying that he'd been hacked. So what we're expected to believe is that somebody had gone to Facebook, managed to log in somehow, changed his relationship status, then gone to his Instagram, managed to log into Instagram, and then taken every photo that contained Avery down, but left all of the other photos completely intact. and somebody else apparently had a vested interest in doing that. Oh, yeah, right, Ash. At the time when I heard it, I just thought, I don't even know why you're going, Avery. It's an obvious lie. But nevertheless, now Ash said, no, I went to my Instagram and all of the pictures were still there. There was no problem from what I could see. So Avery's pictures were there when you looked, but on Avery's end, when she's looking at your profile, she can't see her pictures. Right, Ash. Ash thinks everybody's as stupid as he is. And this sent Avery over the edge. She said, oh my God, you're lying again. You're lying right to my face. You actually admitted it in the first instance. Before you actually agreed that the photos were gone. Now you're trying to tell me there was no problem. And I think even those at the back of the class are now beginning to see it. And to ram the point home, Shaun says, well, what else did he lie about? Give us an example. And so Avery said, well, I was on a diet and Ash said he'd support me with this diet and he'd do the diet too. And then I discovered that he wasn't keeping to the diet, but he pretended that he was. Every single woman in the world, more than likely, is now a liar. Oh, Avery, don't you know, if you break your diet, you pretend that you haven't, and that you've just got a real slow metabolism. You don't say I'm weak and greedy and I can't stop eating. Or at least I don't. I just deny it. My other half thinks my quarantine belly is an unfortunate result of not being able to walk the streets freely, and not because I can't keep my hands off the Chenin Blanc. And I gotta tell you, I think if you're lying about a diet, it's barely a lie. So as you see, this is the ridiculous example that Avery decides to use as proof of Ash's lying ways. Like I said earlier, Ash lies every time he opens his mouth. I'm sure there are far better ways of proving that Ash is a low-down dirty liar than this crappy diet story. And then in jumps Lisa. Lisa said, oh, you can't judge him on a diet. Who cares about a diet? Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes the jokes just write themselves. And then Lisa continues, you're being far too harsh on him. And somehow, just somehow, Ash manages to gain the upper hand a little bit and make people feel sorry for him. So very unsurprisingly, Shaun was like, so he didn't follow a diet, right? So that was the reason? And Avery said, no. But Ash was over the top saying, yes, that was the reason. And everybody else on Quarantine Tell-All was smirking and laughing. He always manages to get out of everything. Houdini's gone. Who cares? Ash is round the corner. And Shaun decided to lighten the mood by saying, but Avery, you did tell us it was the best sex of your entire life. And first up, she looked deadpan at the screen, and then her little joker mouth grew into a smile. And then she looked quite embarrassed and she agreed, well, you know what, I can't disagree with that. Oh, my friends, what did the Ebird say? I called it last week. Ash is putting it down in the bed, and that's why Avery's still lovey-dovey with him. She knows when she goes home she's no longer interested, but she's been digmatised. And here we have the proof. And Ash was loving it. He said, you can't deny it. And at that moment, his little gigolo business probably had a flurry of extra inquiries. And finally, Shaun asked Ash, why did you say on the beach that day that you were single? And Ash said, well, the way I see it, what I meant was, I'm not married. And again, Lisa jumped in and said, oh my God, that's terrible. If you're dating someone, then you're not single. Men see it as, unless they're married, they're single. And to be quite honest, I think probably Ash said that because Avery was asking him like 1,000,001 questions, and he was more or less saying, you don't own me. You know, I'm single at the moment. I don't have to answer your every question. But what Ash doesn't realise is if he gave a straight answer to a straight question, she would have to ask an awful lot less. If we notice, she was asking the same things time and time again. And as if to ram this message home, Avery said, Ash never answers questions, and he always talks in metaphors. And he does. And remember I said very early on, he talks in salesman speak and he talks in metaphors and riddles. And so that was pretty much it from Ash and Avery. And just looking at this performance alone, I think that Ash came out on top just because even though we all know that he's a liar, he managed once again to wriggle out of it. And also the one shining example of Ash and his lies, which Avery presented to us, was some horse crap about a diet. Who cares? You had your chance to actually nail him and you didn't. I managed to nail more on this review what happened with the Facebook Instagram scandal. Again, he managed to talk over the top of you and say, well, I could see the pictures, and it kind of made out like that wasn't really true, or maybe you just couldn't see your pictures, or maybe there was a glitch in the system. It didn't really get down to the bottom of the fact that Ash was playing you at that point. Also, nobody asked Ash, why don't you know anything about relationship coaching? Yes, you call yourself a relationship coach. Where are your qualifications? How did you study? What is your business model? Why don't you have a website? Nobody asked him any of these questions. And I wondered to myself, but why? We would have managed to catch him in lie after lie if those questions were asked. Also, we should have asked him about his son Taj and why he pretended that it was going to be okay for Taj to come to the US when he knew good and well that it wasn't. Again, another massive clanger of a lie that just wasn't fleshed out. All in all, quite a poor performance. So guys, let me know what you think. What question do you think should have been fired at Ash to absolutely pin him as a slam dunk, let's nail Ash to the cross question? And also let me know if you like this whole quarantining thing where everyone's on the screen at the same time and everyone's jumping in. I kind of like it, but what do you guys think? Please put your comments down below. I do love reading through them all and I'll answer as many as I can. And I'll be back very soon with another review. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like and share. Also don't forget to follow me on Twitter and all that good stuff. You've been listening to Ebird Online. I've got it off my chest. Ciao for now.